Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you're all having a great day today. So recently I put out a video about a fanboy getting really upset over the reception to Metroid Prime 4, getting upset at the complaints about the game, and well, today's video is basically going to be the exact same thing, but with a different fanboy. And this fanboy and his meltdown is, let's just say, much more severe than the last ones. We are, of course, going to be covering none other than Harman Smith's meltdown. He titled this little meltdown that he had, Metroid Prime 4 is better than everything on Steam. PC gamers. Now, I'm not sure why he said PC gamers at the end, like was he supposed to write out the rest of his title? The title would make a lot more sense if he had just said Metroid Prime 4 is better than everything on Steam, but expecting Harman Smith to use common sense in titling his videos is like expecting a pig to fly, let's be honest. But yeah man, I'm sure you guys just cannot wait to hear the absolute wisdom he is about to spew, so let's just go ahead and hear him out.
One of the things that dawned on me while I was playing Metroid Prime 4 was just how many people were seething and coping about this release.
I don't really see any people seething and coping over the fact that this game came out, but I do see a lot of fanboys like yourself seething and coping over the littlest bit of criticism about the game. People like you are literally frothing at the mouth over people saying they enjoyed the game, but there's a few things that they view as big flaws, like the open world and the annoying NPC characters. To you fanboys, somebody playing a game, liking the game, but still having some criticisms towards the game is completely off limits. It's like you motherfuckers don't want games to improve. Instead of admitting that these problems might weigh the game down a little bit, or even making videos respectfully disagreeing, you make these stupid fucking cope videos where you're like, oh well, it's better than everything on Steam. Like, yeah, sure, buddy.
Like, how many people were coming out trying to say this was the worst Metroid Prime game?
I mean, if we're gonna go off of the Metacritic rating of all the Metroid Prime games, this is factually the lowest rated Metroid Prime entry. Does this mean the game is a pure pile of shit and nobody should ever play it? No, but it is factually the lowest rated when it comes to both player and critic scores of the Metroid Prime games.
This was an embarrassment for Nintendo, that this was like some epic disaster.
Nobody is claiming that this game, okay, maybe there's a few idiots out there who are trying to claim that this game is an epic failure for Nintendo, but most of us realize the game probably financially is still going to be successful. That doesn't mean our criticisms of the game are invalid. And it definitely doesn't mean that it's fucking superior to every single game on Steam like you claim in your intro.
And I was sitting here thinking that, like, what PC game has come out in the past 20 years that's as good as Metroid Prime 4?
I mean, it's kind of subjective what you think the best game is, but let's judge it off the one metric we have. User scores and critic scores. Tons of other games have come out in recent years that have had both user and critic scores higher than Metroid Prime 4. An example I can think of off the top of my head is Baldur's Gate 3. It had both a higher user and critic score than Metroid Prime 4. And I specifically picked that game because I know you cope over it all the time. And considering how much you hate From Software, I'm gonna throw Dark Souls 3 in here as well. It got both a higher critic and user score than Metroid Prime 4.
Because I can tell you for a fact that, yeah, this is better than Half-Life 2.
Look, I could continue bringing up Metacritic scores to disprove all of his points here, but I think you guys get the idea. He just claims it's better because he has more fun with it. And let's be honest, because it comes from Nintendo.
It's better than StarCraft 2, it's better than Overwatch,
Okay, I'll agree it's better than current Overwatch. Anything's better than current Overwatch.
better than, like, pretty much all of the big PC games released over the past 20 years. Okay.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Like, Metroid Prime 4 is really interesting in this regard because it is, I think, something that you can clearly look at and say that, like, yeah, that's quite a bit better than most other Western slop.
I will agree it's better than most Western AAA games that come out, but then again, that's not really saying much when most Western AAA games are garbage. If I take a turkey sandwich that is flawed, that has maybe too much ketchup on it, not enough meat, whatever, and compare it to, let's say, a shit sandwich, it's gonna look perfect in comparison. And while an extreme example, that's basically what you're doing here, Harman. Instead of comparing it to Western garbage that is for the most part extremely low quality, why don't we compare it to other Nintendo games? Or I should say other Japanese games in general, because Japanese games still have good reception among players. And why don't we compare it to other Metroid Prime games, as people who are interested in buying Metroid Prime 4 are likely people who played the past Metroid Prime games.
Because it does not have the same issue that other games have. It doesn't have the cringe writing of Borderlands.
While it might not have the same cringe tier writing that Borderlands has, it definitely does have the cringy companion problem that a lot of AAA games in the West has. Characters like Mackenzie are the exact problem with a lot of AAA games in the West and their writing.
It actually has intense combat. It actually has an attractive female lead.
Damn, I gotta be careful with how I word this, because I don't want to come off as a hashtag cyberbully dude, but I agree that characters have definitely gotten nerfed in the looks department, both male and female if you ask me. But I don't think that message should be coming from this guy. I don't think that message should come from a guy slouched back on his couch with a Donkey Kong t-shirt. I'm just being honest.
You know, all these things that are considered like stereotypes when it comes to like typical Western games is simply not really a problem with Metroid Prime 4.
I mean, there are stereotypical Western AAA problems in Metroid Prime 4. The shoehorned in open world, and the annoying companion characters. Those are both things that are stereotypical problems with AAA games, and they are both present in Metroid Prime 4.
Metroid Prime 4 is just better than other Western developed games.
Why did he just randomly zoom in the camera on his face in the middle of this?
Like, and obviously there are plenty of other Nintendo developed games that are better than this. Like, Kirby Air Riders is a really good example.
Yeah, I will agree with this point. I think Kirby Air Riders looks like a better game.
But at the end of the day, like, we're not comparing this to other Nintendo games. We're comparing this to other games on PlayStation and Xbox.
Why not compare it to other Nintendo games? Are you too insecure about your purchase to do that?
You know, when it comes to, like, the PC, like, high-end, graphically demanding games, this game is better than pretty much all of that. You know, it does look better than the competition. It does have a great art direction. It does have higher frame rate.
How can you claim that this game has a higher frame rate than PC games when PC games are entirely dependent on what PC hardware somebody has? I can make Battlefield 6, for example, run at like 180 FPS. That's higher than the Switch 2 can run Metroid Prime 4 at, that's for sure.
Okay. Like, it's kind of remarkable, you know, looking at this and comparing it to something like, say, Doom the Woke Ages, right? Like, when you compare this to Doom, like, the difference in quality is just staggering, you know? Metroid Prime 4 is just better than Doom the Dark Ages, Doom Eternal, and Doom 2016 combined.
Really? Because Doom Eternal alone got an 88 from critics, which is higher than Metroid Prime 4 got, and the user score is exactly the same as Metroid Prime 4. And the metascore of the Dark Ages is higher than Metroid Prime 4 as well. Maybe you have a point when it comes to the user score. The only one that I can really say you have a point with is fucking Doom 2016. And even then, this shit is really subjective at the end of the day. Like, I still like 2016 more than Metroid Prime 4. The difference between me and you is I'm not gonna sit here and say that Doom 2016 is objectively a better game than Metroid Prime 4, because at the end of the day, it's subjective.
Like, that's just the sheer amount of difference in quality between Metroid Prime and the rest of the industry. And that's really something that we really do need to like address more, right? We really need to talk about more is that like, all these people who are seething about Metroid Prime 4, like, do they know the current state of the industry? Have they played all these other first person games?
Just because Metroid Prime 4 is better than a lot of mass-produced first-person garbage does not immediately make it better than everything else in the industry.
Like, do they know what the competition really is?
Let's be realistic here, its competition is other Nintendo games because people who are interested in playing Metroid Prime 4 are likely Nintendo fans. And if you ask me, other Nintendo games that came out this year are simply better than it. Donkey Kong Bonanza being the first game that comes to mind when I say this. I saw a full playthrough of this game. This game looks phenomenal. And it is also higher rated than Metroid Prime 4, in both user and critic scores. But its more obvious competitors are previous Metroid Prime games, and that's where it kind of falls short.
Like, because from where I'm sitting, someone who's played lots of games over the past decade, like Metroid Prime 4 is quite a lot better than pretty much anything on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, Doom Eternal, Red Dead Redemption 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, Space Marine 2, Stellar Blade, Black Myth Wukong, Hollow Knight Silksong, Expedition 33. Those are just some games that popped up at the top of my head. I'm sure you guys can think of more down in the comments, but you're acting like great games don't exist on other platforms.
And that's just the reality of it. Like, the simple reality is Metroid Prime 4 actually has a unique design philosophy. It actually has a unique theme. It actually has like a unique style, presentation, mechanics, right? Like, this game feels very much unlike every other Western game that we've gotten in the past 20 years.
I still find it very fucking funny that you're only willing to compare it to Western games, because if you start comparing it to Japanese games, the game might fall a little bit short when it comes to some of the great ones we've gotten in recent years. But even if we are only to compare it to Western games, games like Expedition 33 are very well received, in fact better received than Metroid Prime 4.
And at this current stage, there is this very strong unwillingness to kind of acknowledge that. One of the big grifts when it comes to Metroid Prime 4, well, not the biggest, but like, kind of like, an undercurrent thing is this idea that this game is like just like the Western games.
I mean, throwing in an empty open world and annoying sidekicks will definitely make it more like a Western game.
Like, there are definitely better Nintendo games than Metroid Prime 4. But at the same time, like, what really needs to be said and understood is that Metroid Prime is something that is meant to appeal to the Western audience, that's supposed to, like, subvert the stereotype that Nintendo doesn't make mature, like, realistic games.
Bro, are we really considering Metroid Prime a realistic and mature game? Jesus, man.
And right now, you can't even emulate Metroid Prime 4. So you can't even sit there and try and tell me that, like, well, I'll just pirate it then. Like, you can't. Like, it won't work. Like, it is completely unemulatable.
You literally can, though. I'm not going to show you guys where to do it or encourage you guys to do it where it is a brand new release. But anything is possible, man. And there are literally videos of people doing it. Now, if you were talking about specifically the Switch 2 version, yeah, you're right, you can't emulate it. But you said the game in general. You seem to forget that tons of Switch 1 emulators exist. Anyway, that is gonna do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy this video, a like would be greatly appreciated. If you didn't like this video, a dislike is fine, whatever. Leave a mean comment on your way out. And yeah, man, that's it from me. Peace.